Hi, and welcome to the Thriving and Surviving podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Markson, and I'm a mum, a wife, an entrepreneur, a coach, and most importantly, I'm someone that loves to make waves, break stigmas, and challenge beliefs. Think of this podcast as a wine and cheese night with your besties, sharing your deepest and darkest thoughts and struggles, but also learning a thing or two. So whether you're thriving or just surviving, this podcast is here to enlighten you, heighten you, and most certainly brighten you. So let's dive right in, and I'm so glad you're here. I think it's a really cool thing because I think this is really rare. However, Emma is still with her high school sweetheart, like her boyfriend, her first ever like partner, still together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know that like we're in a throwaway society, and I feel like particularly like with dating apps, like it's not like everyone doesn't have a million options all the time. And you guys, you've gone through buying a house together, having kids together, and like still here. Like how many years is it now? Like
Well, 2009 to now, so it'll be, I think, is that 16 years in October?
that's so wild.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, and
that's
it's really
wild
weird
to me.
because do you know what? Like I'm 30 this year, so we've officially been together for more than half my life.
That's wild.
Yeah, so weird.
30 next year.
No, I turned 30
Yeah.
in February
Okay, right.
gone.
When you said that, you said I'm 30 this year, and I'm like, your birthday is in February. Like, what month are we in? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
want to pick your brains a little bit. Like having a relationship for that long, particularly going through, like turning 18, like all of the things when most people grow apart, you guys have still grown together. So like how? Why?
How? Well, I haven't been in any other relationships to compare.
I mean, maybe
Um,
that's part of the how.
maybe. Maybe, but I think, I don't know, like, I think that, like, just like anything, so many things go into it. But I think for me and Jake, and like, it's not to say that we've had a perfect relationship, like, no relationship is ever perfect. And we've had hard times just like anybody else. And it was funny when you said, because I like started listening to, I think it was Beck's one on the podcast talking about, what's it called?
Or the poly?
Yeah, and like I found it so interesting, like listening to everything that she had to say about that. And then you were like, oh, well, I think you should talk about
You're the
this.
opposite of that. Let's go down that road.
Yeah, and but I think for me and Jake, like I do think that we just have everyone has to have like that next level connection. Do you know what I mean? Like an actual connection. I don't know if you want to call it like you feel like your souls are
I mean, for
connected, like
me,
that
it's kind
level.
of like best friend vibe. Like when I've had that in relationships, when I
Yes.
felt my most connected, I've genuinely felt like they are my best friend.
Yes, yes. And I feel like that with you in the sense that like I feel like we're like lifelong friends, you know what I mean? And like that's
Yeah.
how I feel with him. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, we'll take
Good.
that. Yeah, and so like there's obviously that to start with, but then I think as well we are both people that haven't like just given up when something has felt hard either. Like we've gone through hard times, but we've stuck by each other. And obviously, there's a certain extent that I'm not saying that people should stick by some extremes and like bad treatment or anything like that. So I just want to preface that I'm not
Like
saying
there's a
that.
boundary, but
Yeah, there's definitely boundaries, and I have boundaries. I'm sure Jake has boundaries, but those are not boundaries we have ever crossed, nor do I think that we ever would, obviously.
yeah,
So there's that. Neither of us, I guess, have crossed a boundary that's that level that's like,
like
okay, like
abuse.
I'm not,
Yeah,
it's yeah, like I'm not okay to stay with this.
yeah,
So there's that.
yeah.
But then things can feel hard without boundaries being crossed. And I think like after having a baby for us is a big one. Everyone has different things, but for us, I think having a baby that first year at least can be really trying on our relationship. Like that affects so many things You
Mm.
don't get that
Big
same
adjustment.
personal time. Yeah, it's an adjustment to start with. And then you don't get as much like one-on-one time. And it's so funny, like once you have kids, sometimes when you actually go off just used to without the kids and you actually have like undistracted time together, you're like, oh, I forgot like how well we get along. And like I've definitely felt that like you just feel more connected after going and having that time together. And we're
Like
not
a
like
date
a
night or
regular,
something.
yeah, and like we're not like we don't have any regular
True,
like
you've never
week.
been like big, like datey kind of. No.
No, we've never been like a regular date night like before or after kids. But now and then we still will go do things. And to be honest, Jake's probably better at initiating those things than me. Like he'll be like, let's go out for dinner or let's go out on the boat. But I do also recognize like that they're so beneficial, especially after having kids. And yeah, we don't do it all the time, but when we do, it's good.
What are your love
And
languages?
you know what? I don't even know.
What, okay, well, what are yours? Like, what makes you feel the most loved?
I think the same of yours, like doing, like if Jake
Acts of
like puts the effort in
service.
like around the house, if like him taking extra care of the kids, like doing things and not just assuming like I'll do it or whatever, like things that make my life easier. So acts of service. I think all the love language. I love a gift.
Yeah. See, I'm not
But
a big gift one. Like, I like, see, quality time is my biggest one. Like,
yes, quality time,
I'm so big
same.
on quality time. Gifts, I feel
Yeah.
like I don't mind. I like gifts that say, like, this is this thing, and I really can tell that I've been listening to you and I see you in what I've gotten. So it can be the
See, for
smallest little
me,
thing, as long as it's
yeah.
like there's that thought behind it, not just like, oh my God, here's like an expensive watch. I'd be like,
Yeah, well, it's not even about it like being expensive, like when I say gifts, but I think it's more so just knowing that they've made the effort.
hmm. Well, that's
Do you know
it.
what I mean?
It's it's
It's them
not
putting the
just
effort into
buying
you.
something. There's
No,
some
it's
thought
not
that
about
goes
what you
behind
get.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally not even about what you get
Oh, see, for
whatsoever.
me, it is what you get, but it's not a price orientated. Like if you get me something
Oh, yeah.
that I
I
hate,
see what
I'm
you
like, it's the
mean.
opposite. Then I'm like, do you even know me?
Yeah, fair.
So like
Yeah,
to
yeah.
me,
I guess like what you
this is
get
like,
matters in that sense.
yeah, like it's like I know you, I've listened, or if even if it's something like, oh, like the other week you mentioned some like you were running low on shampoo and I picked up, I don't
Yeah.
know, like, whatever that is, just something that says
Yeah.
like, see you, I hear you, and like I'm considering
Yeah.
you in my day to day, like you've got me.
Yes, same, same. That's exactly what it is for me when I say
Yeah.
like gift. It's just them putting effort into you, them showing that they actually really care about you, showing that they appreciate you, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I also agree quality time is a really big one. And then I actually do quite like, what's the word? Like
Words of
hugs and
affirmation. Oh, physical touch.
yeah, physical touch. And I think like when I was younger, I liked it more, but Jake is not like he's not that affectionate, I would say,
No, he's
physically.
definitely not.
And so yeah, and so I would say that reduced because I just got used to that being what our relationship was. And I just knew
Yeah.
that that's just him. It wasn't anything like against me
Yeah.
or about our relationship. But to be honest, I would say, as we've got older and like since having kids and stuff, I actually feel like he's gotten more affectionate.
No, there you go.
Sometimes he's the one like initiating affection, like just whatever, a hug, whatever it may be, kissing me goodbye, whatever, like climbing in bed and giving me a cuddle because we currently sleep separately with the two kids. Like I sleep with Toby and Jake sleeps with
And I feel
Dustin.
like that's tricky as well, like in a lot of relationships, because a lot of the time,
Yeah.
like going to bed together at night and having like that intimacy, like that's a big
Yeah.
part of reconnecting in your
Yeah.
relationship. And when you've got kids and you sort of split up, like it's so easy to feel super disconnected.
Yeah, definitely. And people can start to feel like roommates and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But Yeah, but I would say that, yeah, Jake probably does a little bit more like, we're not like super PDA at all whatsoever.
No.
But I would say, and since he has been doing that a little bit more, I'm actually going like, oh, yeah, like I like that.
Yeah.
Like I forgot.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What's his love languages?
Um, I don't even
Tells me
really
you guys have
understand.
been together for this long and you don't know each other's love language. I can't with
Yeah,
you.
well, I guess like I think like I know him well, like I know what
I
he
feel like I have
likes and
this conversation on first dates with people.
I know what he likes and I know what he dislikes, but I guess I've just never
Put a label on
overly
it.
labeled anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's what it is. Like when you say on the spot, oh, what's your love language? I'm like, I can't even remember what all the love languages
Is
are, kind
EX
of
a
thing.
service? Like he appreciates like you doing like making
Yeah, I
loves,
would
like that
say
sort of thing. Like
acts of service, definitely not gifts at all.
most guys aren't really gifty, to be fair, like in my experience.
Yeah. Like I do like to put effort in and like sometimes like there's been now and then times that he'll like surprise me with flowers and that's like not a super common thing and so that makes it even more like surprising.
Yeah.
But so like he had done that a couple times just over a couple of years or something and so like I randomly bought him like a fishing gift voucher.
Oh yeah.
um like that to try and do like on my half rather than just always like I think it can be common for women to expect it from the guys, but then there's no like them doing that back
Location.
either.
Yeah, that's actually
I
very
think
fair.
I think it can be pretty interesting. Like when you think about all the things that you complain about. This is something I heard recently, and I was like, it's actually so interesting to think about that. If you think about all the things that you complain about that your partner does, can you actually like just step out of your ego for a minute and think about how maybe you do those exact same things
Yeah.
a
No,
different
that's
way?
fair. I mean, I like to think that I'm not a hypocrite in the things that I would never expect something that I'm not showing up and doing. And if I feel like if I'm clock it with them, I make sure I'm perfect in that space before being like, hey, like I'll
Mm.
step up my game first and kind of hope like, okay, like maybe they'll just follow my lead. If I start putting
Yeah,
energy into this area that's lacking for me, maybe they'll just sort of like take note and it doesn't have to be like a whole conversation, big thing, which maybe that's
yeah.
for failure. I don't know. Not all men are the most observant. So probably should be a conversation, but
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that that's fair. Like, I think that, and I think that sometimes that's a good way to go about it because sometimes they do actually match you in
mm,
that energy, but it just depends on the person. But yeah, like I think, but I do think sometimes you could think you're being perfect, but that's what I mean. Like, if you can just try and like actually think about it, because that's the first thing I think, like,
yeah.
uh, if you
Oh,
try
I
and think,
definitely think I'm hard to date.
you can show up. I don't mean you particularly. Like this isn't me having to go about you. I think it's so funny that we're having this conversation and like it feels what's a word when you like it feels not mean, it feels inconsiderate that we're having this conversation when you're like post breakup and you're like, oh,
Oh,
what have you done well? And I'm like, I'm not saying these are things that you didn't do.
no, I'm not taking it personally. Don't worry.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Because it's not what I think whatsoever.
Oh, but I'm
Um,
I'm in that space though. Like I totally agree. Like no one is perfect. And
yeah,
I think it's also powerful knowing the areas that you lack in. And even if they're areas you'll never be strong in, at least knowing
yeah,
what your shortcomings are, like you know where you need to invest the most energy because
yeah,
they're not areas that come naturally well to you. Words of affirmation, I suck. I suck at
yeah.
praise and verbally appreciating people. I express it differently, but for a lot of people, they want the words. They want the
I'm bad at
they
words of
want the pat on the
affirmation
back.
too.
See, I hate it. I don't like getting it. I don't like giving it. And most
I
people,
feel icky. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And I feel
but I know
icky
I'm
saying that.
terrible in my
Yeah,
friendships, in my relationships. Like I'm not the best at being like, well done. Like I really appreciate that. And I'm trying to be more conscious because that's just for
yeah,
me, that's not how I show my love is with the words.
yeah,
Words just, I just find words hollow and I feel like far too many times people say things and it just doesn't align with action. So like I would
yeah.
rather just try and do some things that show that I appreciate, I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you, but I think, and I feel the exact same way. And sometimes I feel silly, like, like if Jake does something that's like out of his ordinary, like it's something that more so I usually do, like it's my part in the house and he just randomly does it. I feel like I'm like, I want him to know I appreciate it. So should I say, I'm really thankful that you did that, but also I feel like an absolute twat for being like, I really appreciate that you emptied the dishwasher this morning. Like,
Yeah. And
just
see,
so
for
it's like,
me, things around the house, they're not even part of my acts of service. Because for me, I'm like,
yeah,
no, you are an adult. You were living in this house. If I wasn't in this house, you would still be emptying the dishwasher. Like to me, like
yeah,
I feel like that's a space that I struggle to be appreciative in because I've never
mm,
had a partner that's been like, hey, thank you for doing 80% of all of the stuff.
yeah,
It's usually been a
mm,
dynamic where I've done 80 and they're like, why haven't you praised me for my 20%? And I'm like, nah, like I'm fuck with that. Things
yeah,
outside of that though, like so different.
yeah,
Like, them like, okay, just so I'm not like throwing Tommy under the bus, but like every morning he would like make me a coffee and he would like put it next to my bedside table. For me,
yeah,
that's different. Like that's this
yeah. Jake makes
thoughtful
me
thing,
coffee every morning.
thoughtful thing that they didn't have to do, where it's that start to the day where I'm like that sort of stuff, grateful. Like
Mhm.
that's an example of
Yeah,
an act of service that I'm like, that means something to me.
yeah,
Housework is just like we're in this trench together and we're just both
yeah.
adulting. Like, yeah.
See, I think I view it as like we both sort of have our regular jobs that he more common does and I more commonly do.
Yeah.
And it's not always a 50-50 split.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the same time, I don't think that like everything needs to be 50-50 because there's more aspects than just like what you physically do, right?
True.
So like, and in some areas he might take 70% of the workload, and in some areas I might take 70% of the workload, and like I don't keep tabs of that either. I mean, there's definitely times I'm sure that I've been like, well, you need to help me more, and like
Yeah.
whatever, like we have definitely had those conversations, but I'd say I'm definitely like not a nagger, and I'm like happy to do what I'm doing as long as he still does what he would usually do and still like helps out where he can extra. I'm just like, you know what I mean?
I
Like
think
I'm
I would
quite,
be okay with it if the overall scale was balanced. If there's
yeah,
give and take in different areas that
yeah,
collectively as a team, we are
yeah,
splitting the physical load, mental load, financial
yeah,
load, emotional load
yeah,
in
yeah,
different areas. It's our strength, cool. But it's
yeah,
when it's like
yeah,
this, I'm like,
yeah. Yeah, when you want that, when it's that extreme, it's just not fair. And there's nothing that you can do but feel unhappy and like
unappreciated and burnt out,
frustrated with
usually.
him and unappreciated. And like, I literally can't do this on my own. Like, I need your help. So, like, I can understand that. And I think in those scenarios, like, that's not okay. Like, that's when you got to have
Yeah.
that conversation. There's definitely times as well that, like, one of us slacks off more than the other. And sometimes if it gets too much, I'm like, I need you to step up kind of thing, because you get like to that frustrated point. And like we've had those times, but then at the same time, there's times that it's definitely slipped more on my behalf and he never actually even says anything. But
And it makes
some
you
in
feel
it,
bad.
but a lot of the time as well, the stuff that I don't do, I think will more so get left more than when he might drop back a little bit. I'm like picking up the extra. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that makes
So,
sense.
but I think that that's just relationship dynamics and like
Yeah.
finding that balance. And I think for the most part, like we're in a really good place in terms of that.
Yeah. I agree that, every relationship is about finding that balance. And even in just that being flexible day to day, like particularly with parenting, I know there's sometimes days where one of you might have 20% and the other one can step up and show that 80 so that together, like you are that sort of
Yeah.
team operating at 100.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's something we, for the most part, naturally do is like if one person is sort of tapping out a bit, generally the other person is more in. And like we definitely take turns that we don't even say anything, just naturally it seems to sort of
Yeah.
happen for the most part, which I think is so important. But I think the main thing is that I think people do give up on relationships quite easily these days. Like there's a really high expectation when, like you said, like both people aren't perfect. And if you're both working through or improving in areas over time, like it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, look, I'm not afraid to bail out of relationships, but the way that I look at it is if I leave this relationship, I'm going to have to put energy into starting a new one, getting to know a new person, going on dates, doing the thing. Is that something I'm doing here? If I'm not doing
Yeah.
it here, then am I surprised this isn't working? No, because
Yeah.
I would have to do that over here to get this to work. But if I'm doing
Yeah.
all of those things here and it's still not working, then for me, like I'm okay with stepping away from something, knowing that I've explored all of the angles and for whatever reason,
Yeah.
it's still not sitting right. But I definitely
Yeah.
weigh that up. Like I think people stop trying and then think grass is greener. That grass still requires
Yes.
work too and watering too. So if you're not watering here, you're going to go there and it's going to die as well. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree with that. Yeah.
so my favorite question I'm going to ask you. So you and Jake been together forever. You've obviously only ever slept with each other. So
Hmm.
what's that like? Like, cannot relate.
Um, how did I know you were going to ask a question like this?
Like,
Um,
is
I
that
guess
has that been something you've had to navigate? Like, or I don't know.
no, well, no, not really. Like, I guess we don't know any different for a start. But I guess it's just a place that for us, like one, we're happy to have just been with each other, but two, like, and when I say happy, I don't mean we're like, yeah, we've only been with each other. Like, it's not like that whatsoever. Like, who really cares if you've been with other people or not? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like it doesn't bother us that we haven't
Yeah.
been with other people. And also, I think some people do break up in those younger years because they want to explore things and, hook up with multiple people and just like have a good time and live that fun sort of party
Yeah.
lifestyle, doing all things, which is so fine. But I guess for us, we wanted to be with each other more than we wanted that, is what I would say, I guess, is the answer to that. Like people who do leave, clearly that's just what they want more than that other person, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But obviously for us, that just wasn't the case. And I mean, I can't speak for Jake and what he felt like when he was that age, but I just never really had an interest in like partying and stuff like that anyway. And I think sometimes those things do come a little more hand in hand.
Yeah, I
And
mean, well, we've been friends since you were 18, and like I can probably count on one hand the number of times you came out clubbing with me. Like it was never real
yeah,
tea.
yeah, like I don't know, it's just like not who I am to like my core. I've always been like a very ambitious person. And like even when I was in primary school, I remember like laying in bed next to my dad, he's putting me to sleep, and I remember saying to him, like, Dad, what can I do to get rich? Like, what could I do? And dad was like, well, you're gonna have to think of a product that doesn't exist yet that everyone wants. Like I just remember having this random conversation with my dad, but I always remember it because it's just like reminds me that that's like just must be who I am to my core. I'm just
Yeah.
like a very ambitious person. I've always wanted to be successful. Everything I've ever done, I've been like, I'm gonna get to the top.
Yeah.
Like when I started Firecom, I was like, I'm gonna be the manager. But then my ambitions went in a different way. And so instead of wanting to become a manager, like I want to succeed in other areas. So I no longer care to be the manager in there. But like it's like I always wanted to get to like the top. I've
Yeah.
always wanted to achieve big
Hope you
things.
weigh
And
up.
I was
Yeah.
and that's what it was when I was very young. And it's funny because like 12 months ago, like, Toby was only a year old and Dustin was about 4. And I think like having kids really changed a lot about me. And I thought it changed who I was. And it wasn't that long ago that I was feeling like I like didn't recognize myself anymore.
Mm.
And I felt like I had to be okay with like not being ambitious and okay with things slowing down, and I can become more ambitious later and stuff. But then I would say like in the last 6 months, I've really like I think I just heard the right things. I heard some podcasts, I joined like some I don't know if you call it like coaching or memberships where like I listened to some modules and like someone said these things to me and they almost made like things okay. Because like you're hearing on social media like it's okay if you didn't do this. It's okay if you didn't do that. It's okay if you're struggling. It's okay that you're not achieving X, Y, Z. And it's like, love yourself for who you are, love your body for how it is. And I'm not like against that self-love movement whatsoever. And I was very into that when I was younger. And I still think you should appreciate your body. And I don't think you should pick yourself apart and be able to look at yourself and, not hate yourself in the mirror. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying anti that, but I just think I was consumed by all of that sort of information. I had kids. It felt things were so much harder. And I learned to appreciate other things once I had children, like slowing down, and like I love being a mum and I love my kids. And if I had to choose one thing in the world, I would give up literally fucking everything to have them and do that. But then when I heard, it was sort of like someone saying, it's actually okay to want to like have an amazing body and work on your body and have a six pack and be fit and do things yourself. It's like not a bad thing to want those things. And
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing to want to do well with money and move into like a more freedom style of living because you're more financially free. It's like not a bad thing to want those things.
Yeah.
And instead of allowing those things to be like, it's okay and let go, like, what about the self-love in terms of showing up for yourself? When you think about how your partner delivers love to you, is there times that they show up and it's inconvenient for them? Is there times they give up things
Mm.
because to help you? Like that's how they show love. But what if you showed your love to yourself in that way, showing up for yourself? Like that's a form of self-love and respect, doing the things that you like your heart and soul really wants to achieve. And like there's a reason why you want those things. There's a reason why your
Yeah.
soul is like, I want to do this and I want to achieve that. Like those things are meant for you. And like that's okay. And once I sort of heard that and I started listening to more from this same mentor as well after that, I think I started to feel like more like myself again. Like I still had those bits and pieces. I would always want it and I would try, but then I would struggle and give up or whatever because it's so much harder with kids and I would get so unregulated. And once you're fucking unregulated, it's done.
Yeah.
So, and I started learning a lot about regulation even because Dustin, he possibly has autism and he gets really unregulated and he's come like so far. But my point is, I've started learning like that trying to help him to regulate, and that's like a work in progress with any kid, just helping them to regulate.
Yeah.
But for me,
Almost
like
impossible to do if you're unregulated.
yeah, exactly. And I started recognizing that I would get unregulated, and I started recognizing that I didn't know how to regulate myself, even though I'm an adult woman. And all the things you hear about regulating is like, take a break, go outside and breathe, all these things that you can't freaking do with kids. But then I started learning just a couple things that like you can do in the moment to help you regulate. And like I started doing those and I started just realizing how I can actually still achieve it with children because I thought once I had children, it just felt impossible.
Mm.
But I guess like that belief system changed and I seen like myself come back and it's almost been like that reminder, like, no, who I thought I was when I was younger is who I am. Like just
Yeah.
because I had that time, that lapse, I guess, doesn't mean it wasn't who I am to begin with. And I've realized like, no, that actually is, and it's actually okay to want and achieve those things. And I can do that
Yeah.
and be a good mom at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting. Like mine was different. So I suppose for me, like I've never questioned who I am or any of those, but it was like if my personality or who I am was in a priority system, before kids, I got to prioritize being ambitious, like all of those things. And it was easy for me to do that because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the other things. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to, for me, learn how to sit with, I suppose, and accept that there will be phases of my life where I need to just prioritize different things. Doesn't mean
Yeah.
that's not who I am, doesn't mean, and usually, to be honest, it's like, fitnessy things. Like sometimes they do go on the back burner a little bit. Sometimes work has to go on the back burner a little bit so that for certain periods of time, I can pour more into different areas. But that's no
Yeah.
different the other way. Like when I competed last year, I bumped it up on the priority list, which meant that had to
Yeah.
come from somewhere. So things slowed down with work. Was I the best version of myself and spending maximum time with my kids during that? Nope, I wasn't. But for a
Yeah.
short period, I was like, I can actually live with that and shift my priority here for a short period. And then I can move it back over here. And I've
Yeah.
got pretty good at being able to do that, which is like something I tell clients that if they're beating themselves up, particularly if it's like for a week, they're like, this week, kids were sick, I was sick. And I'm like, it's okay to have to prioritize something else for that week. Like, it's not
Yeah.
even always in your control. Sometimes
Yeah. Oh,
it takes the
definitely.
wheel and like something's got to give. So if everyone's
Yeah.
sick
Well,
and you didn't get to the gym, like, that's okay.
yeah, exactly. And I think like questioning who I am and what I wanted more so came from the space that I thought, like we had trained with the girls and then we finished train with the girls. And what that looked like in the end of train with the girls, like the last couple few years, whatever it was of work. And like, I also had Dustin. So I had a child at the same time. So I was a parent then too. And I just questioned like, what that looked like, I was like, do I want that for myself?
Yeah,
In
that was
terms of
probably
how
hard too
hard it
because it was so hard at the end there that you were like, do I want to have businesses? Because, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I was like, if this is what comes with success, I don't want it because it takes away from my family. And it was just mentally hard. I didn't enjoy it anymore.
yeah,
Like I had lost my passion for it because it was just so hard and I just
yeah.
struggled so hard in the end there. And then I was like, I could be going to work, coming home, stress free.
So it's like that little bit of loss of identity every time there's a big change too. It's like, okay, like this
Yeah.
is gone. And it's like I suppose like that was also sort of similar, like my marriage ending. Like you have something in your life for such a long period of time, it comes part of like your identity and the way that you see yourself. And then if anything in that
Yeah.
changes, whether that's losing a partner, having a child, getting a partner, starting a business, ending a business, you're like, okay, like now that that's not here, or now that that is here, who am I and what does that look like?
Yeah, exactly. And I think I was just like, it wasn't until I realized that I could hold that duality of
Mm.
mum life and succeeding and what I
Think
wanted
you
those
felt
things to look
guilty?
like.
Like, do you think
Hey,
wanting that success and ambition, do you think there was an element of guilt that, like, I'm not saying there is,
yeah,
but like, I think a lot of
yeah,
people do feel guilt, and it's almost like giving yourself permission that it's okay to want those things. Like, you don't even need to feel bad about it. Like, that's okay.
yeah, I think so. I think I felt more guilty, and the way I've been able to let go of that guilt was that for me, I thought succeeding had to take away from my children. I couldn't be the mum I wanted to be. And I think now that I see that it doesn't have to look like that,
Yeah.
that's removed that. Like I just view it differently now.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's good. I'm glad you found a balance that like it sits well. Like I feel
Yeah.
in that rhythm where you're like, this feels manageable, sustainable, and like not just that, but like I'm happy. Like,
Yeah.
no, that's
Yeah. I
good.
definitely feel like, yeah. And I think like as much as I would have loved training with the girls to be successful, like I think it just obviously wasn't meant to be. I think it was meant
Yeah.
to be when it was, and it was a
Yeah.
part of our paths. We were supposed to
Yeah.
learn what we've learned from
Oh,
that.
we learned so
And
much.
yeah, and go through all of that to come out the other side. And I think that will contribute to, the rest of our lives.
Mm.
But that in itself wasn't supposed to
Yeah.
continue, I think.
Oh, look, I agree in some of your woo woo as well. Like, I definitely think, like, what's meant to be comes to you, but I also think, like, I'm big on the law of attraction as well. Like, I think what you're
Yeah,
throwing
well,
out
that's
in the
manifesting.
universe, like, yeah, like,
Yeah,
huge on it. Like, if
yeah, yeah,
yeah, like, I'm very, very big on that one. So, like, I suppose, like, because I'm a control freak, I like to think that there's always an element of control in your fate, and that.
oh, I think there 100% is.
Yeah. Like I don't like thinking
Like,
that no matter what I did, I was still gonna like have the same path. Like
no,
I'm like that I
you
would hate that.
you yeah, no, I definitely don't think that you would have the same path whatsoever. But I
Yeah.
think that like you have to do work. You can't just lay in bed all day every day and you'll be
Yeah.
successful one day. Like that's just not
Yeah. Look,
gonna happen. I think the combination of like manifesting or law of attraction, whatever you're gonna call it, in alignment with doing the work is
yeah.
where it's at.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like this chat has gone in so many
so many
directions.
directions. So many directions. But no, it was really good. It was good. Yeah, went around everywhere. I mean, this whole series was eventually like originally I thought I'd be doing all my recording in bed, and I was like, bedroom series, we're gonna keep it rolling with that. But I've actually up and moving and cruising, so I'm like, it can just be everything. It can just
Yeah, well,
oh
I feel like you probably feel better to be up and getting around rather than like in pajamas in bed.
yeah.
I
It's so funny.
do
I
like it.
did school pickup, and like, to be fair, I was in slippers. But to be fair, the rest wasn't actually pajamas. And one of the other mums saw me and she's like, wow, you look so comfortable. I was like,
She must have been
"Hi."
jealous.
She said that. I was like, I am. She's like, I'm actually jealous. And like got in her car. And I was like, I also feel like this is my sign to put in a little bit more effort here.
But do you know what? I picked up Toby the other day in proper pajamas, proper fucking spec, Peter Alexander, button up, silky green PJs, not long ones like summer PJs. And because we were going to our friends for dinner, and like I just love being in my PJs at night. I love an early shower. So, like, before we went there, so that we didn't have to worry about it when we come home, we were going to shower our kids there. So, I just had a shower here and got in my pajamas. So,
But
I
you
was
went to
like,
your
good to
friend's
go.
house for dinner in pajamas too.
Yeah, I do that all the
Amazing.
time. Any family gatherings, family friend gatherings, even like our friends' birthdays when they have a birthday dinner and like do cake and stuff, I always rock up in my pajamas like they expect me to.
That's amazing.
And when we were on our way there, we had to pick up Toby on the way. And usually Jake always goes in to get him. And we pulled up and I was like, "You going in?" And Jake like just didn't feel like going in this day. He's like, "Nah, you can go." And I was like, "Yeah, righto." And like I wasn't even thinking about the fact that I was in my pajamas. And when I got to the door and put in my PIN code and open it, I was like, fuck, I'm so heavily in my pajamas. This isn't funny. And it's like 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon. And as I walked in, like the lady in the office, she like looked at me and I could tell, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm in my pajamas." I didn't realize I'd be coming in to pick him up. And she was like, "I wasn't gonna say anything."
They probably just think you've been like lounging around all day. And that's what the look, so you can visualize what I was wearing. It looked like I'd spent a day on a couch eating chips. That was the vibe that I'd gone with. And I was like, I actually hadn't. I've had a really productive day. I am just not dressed to impress right now.
Yeah, yeah. But I feel like sometimes like when you do those things that's embarrassing, there's like power in that too.
I suppose because a large part of me is like, I don't care. I don't actually care.
Yeah.
But I was
Yeah.
like,
I
no,
feel like
I'm
you're
gonna
like
take this as a sign to like let's get a little bit more put together this week. Like we're a bit more post surgery. We can dress a little bit more presentable for society.
But I do feel like you're definitely like, I've never met anyone like you that can just like actually just not care. Like the way you walk around, like I can't even count. There's so many effing times that you've shown up to something or come somewhere with me or done something with me. And like, I've never even said anything at the time, but like, you were just like so zoned out of what anybody else thinks. The amount of people that would have fucking looked at you. Um, and like you just don't think anything of it. Like you're not even
Yeah.
thinking about it. But that like also has given, I think, me confidence at times. We're like, well, if Amanda can walk around and like do this and not care, well, so can I. And then sometimes I do it. And then you just get comfortable doing it. And then you
Yeah.
forget that you're even doing it. It was
But you're
sort of
right
like at the
with power
strand
in it
the other
though.
week.
Like, no one's going to
Hey?
be on their deathbed being like, oh my God, I'm so glad that I lived my life in a way where other people didn't have an opinion about me. Because I feel like I
Yeah.
learned, like, I feel like that's what I nutted out in high school. I tried so hard to get people to like me and they still
Mm,
hated me. So I'm like, do you know
yeah.
what? Like, I'm just going to show up as myself. Vibe attracts your tribe. People will either like me for it or I won't be their cup of tea. Either way, like that's totally okay. But at least then
Yeah.
people like me for me or at least don't like me for me. I think that's the
Yeah.
key is if someone doesn't like me, as long as what they don't like about me is an actual thing,
Mm.
love that. Love that for them. Like
Yeah.
that's totally fine.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. And I think that that's something that you taught me like when I was younger, because I was so young when we became
Yeah.
friends. Like I was only 18,
I know.
and that was something that really taught me because I'm like I'm a big people pleaser. Well, I'm a lot less of a people pleaser now, like a lot less, but I was a big people pleaser. And sometimes like I do think I sort of came back to that a little bit after I had kids, and through that period that I lost myself a little bit, like I lost that, but I've been finding that like I've been doing more and more and like really finding that and really stepping into that lately. But it was actually really funny that like I feel like that's something that you were meant to do for me, in my opinion. Like that was just supposed to be a part of my path, because I feel like you really impacted me in that when I was younger. And then when you came here to Townsville, right, I definitely hadn't like stepped back into feeling confident and not caring about anyone else. And we went to the Strand and I wore a full
Made you get in a
bikini,
bikini.
no board shorts, nothing covering me at all. And to make things worse, we were at the kids' water park, which felt so what's the word? I can never think of the words, Aaron. So wrong. Like I just felt like I was showing way more than I should be showing at a kid's water park. It's like going to fucking swimming lessons in like this full on bikini. Like everyone wears one pieces, right?
Yeah.
And so like it wasn't even like we were just on the beach. We're at a kid's water park and I felt like so vulnerable. But and you know what? If it was anyone else there but you, I would not have done that.
I know.
And anyways, I did it, but you know, like that really pushed me because that's the most uncomfortable I've felt in a long time. Like I felt so uncomfortable. I can't even explain. Like I was anxious. I was like thinking about people looking at me the whole time. All I could think of was like, they're probably thinking, what's she just wearing that bikini for? This is a kid's place. Da, da, da. Look at herself.
I need to let everyone know this wasn't even like a G-string bikini. Like it was a proper bikini. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
because I
It
know
was a
I see
problem.
all of the things on like Instagram where people girls are in G-strings at bikinis. I just want them to mentally
Yeah.
picture it wasn't like a G-string bikini. It was like a normal bikini.
Yeah, like I guess I'm making this out to be really raunchy, but it was just a normal bikini. But it was a normal bikini, but like usually I would
You hadn't been
be
out
wearing
that far
like,
outside your comfort zone for a while.
yeah, and like I had not worn just a bikini since I had Toby at that point. And
I
yeah,
saw
like
it in
it
your
was.
face when you're like, I didn't bring togs. I'm like, I've got spares, but they're all bikinis. You were like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, "Ugh." And then you tried to give me shorts to put over the top, and they looked worse than wearing just the bikini. So I was like, F this, I'll just wear my denim shorts. But then Jake was sort of like that extra little nudge, like, just wear your bikini. Who
Yeah.
cares? And it was like that final push. Like you were a big push, but I wasn't quite there. I was like, I'm just going to wear my denim shorts and I'll just have wet denim shorts. It is what it is. And
Yeah.
then when Jake was like, just wear your bikini, he was just like that final nudge. And I do feel like a lot of the time he is that for me. Like
I love
sometimes I could be on the verge on doing something and he gives me like that final okay. And that makes me
Yeah, it
feel
was
like
almost
so
like that little
free.
bit of support in it, right? Like, yeah, you're not doing
Yeah.
a hard thing by yourself. You've got someone backing you that you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But like afterwards, it felt so freeing that I did
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
and
When
then
you
like
went
I've
home
continued
at night and
to,
realized no one else is being like the girl in the bikini at the kid park, like,
I think you're just actually like, well, actually, who cares?
but no, I agree. It is freeing. The less you
Yeah,
care about it, the less you think about it, I suppose.
yeah,
Like, just get
yeah,
too caught up and living your own
yeah,
life.
you do.
And yeah.
Yeah, you do feel so much better. Like you do stop thinking about it and you don't let that like hold you back anymore.